Matt Hughes, Alexandre Barros from Brazil. Barros a late replacement. Hughes a guy that, again, people talking about.
Absolutely. Matt Hughes, just one word, again, unstoppable. Taking on IBC champ Alexandre Barros.
Matt Hughes, another young man from Iowa, as he gets ready to make his way out here. And Matt Hughes thought he was going to be fighting Chris Brennan, but instead he comes out, and I don't think it matters who he fights. He's ready to go.
Well, Matt was looking forward to a matchup with Chris Brennan, which unfortunately didn't occur. A little bit of an exchange between the two, actually, related to that lack of appearance by Chris Brennan. I'm sure it'll be solved at a later date. Found a last-minute replacement, and quite arguably a upgrade from an international standing in Alexandre Barros to take him on. As we talked about, Matt is just unbelievably strong. His conditioning is just excellent. He's a world-class wrestler, and look for this guy to lay the leather on. He can really, really punch.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from Matt Hughes' past fights. Impressive, to say the very least, has been Matt Hughes, a young man from Iowa, 26 years old, and there you see some of the damage he's doing. Very impressive.
Matt Hughes is he's just devastating. He just comes from nowhere, and nobody can seem to solve this guy's riddle.
Here's a guy, Matt Hughes, tough to say the very least. In fact, just a natural kind of toughness that Matt Hughes talks about he possesses.
Probably comes from my whole life. I was born and raised on a farm. I grew up with a twin brother. So if nothing else, I'm competing with him on who can throw more straw bales at a faster rate of speed. So the competition with my brother and being raised on a farm is probably the combination. And I love to work out, lift weights every day.
So there you go, Matt Hughes, young man from Iowa, and his opponent making his way out. Alexandre Barros from Brazil, just 22 years old, but some say could be an up-and-comer in this sport.
I tell you, Alexandre Barros is extremely confident in himself. He's coming off a win in the IBC 8-man tournament. He's a product of the Marco Uas Valley Tudo team. He's got a heck of a camp that he's training with. It matches that of Matt Hughes. This should be an interesting matchup. I'm anxious to see if he can solve the riddle of Matt Hughes.
There you see Barros, just 22 years old.
And again, as we talked about, a product of the Uas Valley Tudo team, the IBC 8-man champion. And I tell you, this guy won't quit. He's going to come after Hughes with what he's got.
Take a look at the tail of the tape, how the two fighters match up. Barros and Hughes, and there it is right there. Barros, a couple years younger, but very similar size. What we expect to see here is, we'll talk about that in the matchup in just a second, but first, TJ Thompson with tonight's introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, your semi-main event this evening, World Extreme Fighting 9 World Class. The fighter to my right wearing the black full contact fighter shorts. He's 5'9" tall, he weighs 175 pounds. He's a freestyle fighter, two-time All-American NCAA Division I wrestler. Right now touted as possibly the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Fighting out of the Militich competition team with a professional fighting record of 14 wins against only 1 loss. From Davenport, Iowa, Matt Hughes. And ladies and gentlemen, the fighter to my left in the black trunks trimmed in white. 5'9" tall, 175 pounds. He's a black belt in Uas Valley Tudo. Professional record of 3-0-1. He's from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Please welcome Alexandre Barros. Scheduled 3 5-minute rounds.
Well, there you go. It's Barros and Hughes. Hughes, ground and pound, trying to get Barros down. Do you think right off the bat?
I think that Hughes is probably going to come out, try to work the takedown. He's a great wrestler. I think Barros is going to try to create a little distance and strike. Barros is one of only 5 men in the world to hold a black belt under Marco Hughes and Hughes Valley Tudo. And I tell you, Hughes speaks very, very highly of him. And to have those words cross Marco Hughes' lips is quite a compliment.
Talk about how important. I mean, that's only 5 in the world hold that black belt.
Only 5 guys in the world.
We'll see what Barros can do. Barros near to you on the screen. Matt Hughes, who beat Pat Miletich.
No, Matt Hughes actually trains with Pat Miletich.
Oh, okay.
And he's a product, I tell you. He made light work of George Pereira in the last World Extreme event, and he's a heck of a fighter, I tell you.
Still a feeling out process, and there goes Hughes right after Barros and takes him down.
Now, look for Hughes to create space and start the strikes here. This is Hughes' game, ground and pound, and he'll try to create some space, get himself a little distance to punch, and he'll try to start raining down the leather. Barros is going to need to look to keep him tight, keep his head down, and keep Matt Hughes under control.
There you see the guard by Barros, and Hughes trying to work an advantage here up against the cage.
I think you'll look to see Barros when he gets the moment to turn himself out away from the cage under Matt Hughes.
These are 5-minute rounds with these two fighters.
Yeah, Hughes is employing a lot of pressure on Barros' head here. He's got the cage just each side of Barros' head. He's got his own head forcing it in, his body weight, his whole pressure, and I tell you, Barros is feeling that.
Can you get a guy to submit with your head up against the cage like that?
I doubt it. Not at this level. But it doesn't feel good. There are things that you'd rather be doing.
Yeah, I could imagine. When your head's cranked sideways up against the cage, I can imagine there's a lot of things you'd rather be doing. Although taking those body shots that Hughes was dishing out a moment ago might not be one of them.
Well, I see Barros' guard is being relatively effective here, although Matt, there once again, he's going to rear up and look for the strikes. This is what he does.
Trying to twist that head, too. It's Hughes.
He's looking for a neck crank here. He's really trying to work on the head of Barros. I'd be surprised if this isn't a Pat Miletich plan to take the Muay Thai aspect out of this by weakening Barros' neck, which is a critical point in Muay Thai fighting.
And they roll around and see Barros looking to get out of that situation, perhaps. As again, his head right up against that cage. Matt Hughes on top, Alexandre Barros on the bottom. Barros' arm underneath there.
I tell you, Hughes has secured that arm. I was just getting ready to comment on that, Ian. He's secured that arm, and I tell you, if he's able to, he's going to take and start to strike to that side since it's undefended. Barros is going to try to take his opposite side hand, put it over and block, and shift his hips if he can to keep from getting hit by Hughes.
Hughes trying to throw those left hands, and looked like Barros. Oh, there's a big one right there. And again, Barros with Hughes all over him.
I tell you, I've had the pleasure of rolling with Matt Hughes on several occasions, and for a guy at 180 to 85 pounds, he can exert an unbelievable amount of pressure. I know what Barros is feeling right there.
Pleasure. For some reason, I don't think that right now Alexandre Barros is thinking pleasure at all.
Did I say pleasure? I thought I said pressure.
You just had the pleasure of rolling around a couple days ago, didn't you?
I had the pleasure of rolling with him, and he's exerting pressure.
Teach him a thing or two?
Oh, always. It's my job to take these guys to school, you know.
There you see again Hughes going in from the side this time.
Matt's an incredible athlete, and I tell you, working with the likes of Pat Miletich and Jeremy Horn and Bobby Hoffman every day. He's actually moving to Davenport, Iowa to train there full-time. He's a hopeful to be in the Secret Service. In fact, he was accepted and put them on hold right now to do what he says, establish himself as the #1 fighter in the world, and then move from there. It's a nice look at Matt Hughes' twin brother in the background there.
Pat Miletich up, and his twin brother Jeremy Horn there as well, all in the corner of Matt Hughes after the first round. Well, Secret Service, I'm not sure. No secret there that Matt Hughes was certainly seemingly in control, at least in that first round against Alexandre Barros. First of 3 scheduled rounds, 5 minutes apiece. Would you give the advantage to Hughes?
I think that round was Hughes's. He was pretty well dominant and held the position he wanted to. Landed a few strikes, although not a bunch that were effective. And Barros couldn't seem to solve the riddle the first round there.
Barros taking a peek is there. You see Matt Hughes getting ready for round 2. And they'll come together. Referee Kip Kohler again, arbitrating tonight's festivities. And
Ian, if you take a look, I want you to see how fresh Matt Hughes still appears. A round of fighting, he's light on his feet, his hands are up, his face is relaxed, there's no stress there. He just has a lot of fun out here fighting.
how much of that is just confidence too?
He's a very confident individual. Nice takedown there by Matt Hughes. Once again, we're in the same situation.
And Hughes with some lefts. Barros in that guard position.
Hughes needs to be careful with his right arm here. Nice job. Once again, Pat Miletich's influence. And look at Matt Hughes work towards passing the guard.
There you see his corner. There's Pat Miletich with the hatch standing up.
Just to his left, Jeremy Horn. Again, a strong, strong corner. And a lot of experience to sit in the corner and offer advice.
How far through the guard is he right now?
He's in the guard, and he did pass there momentarily. Barros was able to put him back in. Now he's almost past the Barros' half guard, although Barros' knees elevated slightly above Hughes' hips. The point for people who may not know is that the guard is really just the most defensive position you can have from the bottom, and it offers you the most offense against your opponent. And what we call passing the guard, you want to bring both of your legs and your hips past the bottom man, which allows you to utilize all 4 limbs. Effectively, when you're in the guard, you have your hips and your legs neutralized, and you can create enough space, theoretically, maybe not against Matt Hughes, but theoretically, to keep them from hitting you. So it's a very, very good defensive position. If you can pass the guard, you now have freed up all 4 limbs. You can use both knees, elbows, hands, whatever it is, to strike to the head and body of the opponent. So we call that passing the guard, and that's usually the goal here.
We're still in the corner now. We are over 2 minutes into the second round. Good look at the fight there, and an elbow, and now a big left hand by Hughes.
Barros is doing everything he can to keep Hughes in tight, because he realizes if he lets it loose, so is Hughes gonna.
There's that left again. Hard to tell from that angle if he's getting through or not.
I don't think that those are connecting real firmly, but I tell you, he feels them.
Especially when your head's bent sideways or pressed up against the chains, as that's the case right now.
Once again, it's just the pressure of Matt Hughes. His pressure will literally wear opponents out. Nice left hand there. I'd like to see Matt look to pass the guard here.
There you see the crowd behind urging on Matt Hughes. And Hughes got through around to the right there. We have a minute 20 left to go in the second round.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Kip Kohler bring them up here if Hughes doesn't get busy punching.
Hughes throwing maybe just enough punches right now to
keep things busy.
Keep things busy.
Barros looking to climb his hips up a little bit on Hughes and perhaps rotate his head out from the cage. You talked about earlier, your head against that cage basically provides a stationary target for your opponent. And Hughes passes the guard. This is
the cage and got him on the side.
This is a side mount position. Hughes with head control here. I think you can look for Hughes to try to land some knees and some punches here. That left hand from this position is very effective, but Barros is going to try to put him back in the guard if possible.
Matt Hughes certainly has been the aggressor in this fight. 20 seconds to go in the second round. And a left hand as they still tie up. Little or no offense from Barros in this fight. Matt Hughes again trying to get the hands free, and that'll do it. For the second round comes to an end. Matt Hughes again, we talked about at the start of the second round, looking fresh. He still looks fresh. It's like he just started his workout, perhaps.
His conditioning is unbelievable. Interesting side note about Matt Hughes. Had the opportunity to do some commentating over in the United Arab Emirates at the tournament that's called the Abu Dhabi World Submission Grappling Championships.
That's an invite only over in...
By invitation only, and there was a little bit of a miscommunication because both Hughes and Horn were competing. They didn't want to compete in the same weight class, being teammates. And they ended up putting Hughes up 2 weight classes at Abu Dhabi. And I tell you, Hughes surprised a lot of people. He beat some very, very good competitors and took a 3rd place over there, I believe it was, at Abu Dhabi.
That's no striking, just submission, right?
Just straight submission, but it just proved that when you're fighting guys, 35 to 40 pounds heavier than you can still be effective, and his conditioning was just unbelievable.
Well, here we go, the 3rd round, 5 minutes. So far, would you give 2 rounds to Hughes?
I think it's 2 to zip Hughes.
And Barros is looking to do something big here to have a chance perhaps to win the fight.
Barros has to get the strikes going. He has to try to tee off. He needs to work the leg kicks. He needs to work his jab. He needs to work the inside leg. And he's got to keep Matt off of him.
Wow, a big kick there. He got one before, but there goes Hughes again, looking for the big pickup. And the slam! There it is!
That's a Hughes trademark. And for those of you, again, who don't know it at home, the center of the ring is the firmest place, and Matt's looking for that place to land him.
He was out there this morning checking out to find exactly where the hardest spot was in the ring, as if he didn't know, but he had Barros up, and he found that spot with authority. And that is the Matt Hughes that fans have seen time and time again.
And here goes Matt Hughes scooting Barros across the mat, wants to put his head up against the cage. This is definitively a game plan that Pat Miletich has put together for this guy.
There he goes, right up against where he wanted to put him, against the side of the cage.
Nice look at Hughes' twin brother just over his head.
As there is a big knee from Hughes. Hughes over in the friendly confines of his corner. Pat Miletich, his twin brother, yelling on some encouraging words. Barros probably couldn't be in a worse place right now.
He's not in friendly territory.
No, he's not.
He's in enemy territory.
From Brazil on American soil and in the opponent's corner.
As you see what I talked about here earlier, Ian, once he passes the guard, he's just able to take and use every one of his limbs effectively. He's able to neutralize the hips. He's got limbs free, and he can brain those knees in on the ribs. And I tell you, those are ones that stay with you through the fight.
Did you take a couple of those when you were rolling around?
We just grappled.
Smart move. Well, you can see the welts and the redness just started to come immediately to the side of Barros there as he took a couple of those big knees. Hughes again.
Hughes looking for the mount. Yep. Back into the half guard of Barros, but Hughes appears content to just force his head up against the cage here, keep him under control, and grind him a little bit.
If you're Matt Hughes right now, you got to know, A, you've probably won the first 2 rounds. You're in control. You probably just don't want to make a mistake.
Matt Hughes is a little bit of a risk taker, but Pat Miletich has tried to calm that down some. You saw the early Matt Hughes fight. He'd go crazy, even if he had the lead. Now he's starting to settle in and become a real professional fighter and knowing when he has the fight in the bag, and let's not take any unnecessary risks, but I'd look for him to knock Barros out if he gets the chance.
Well, he's probably getting those exact instructions where he's out in his own corner right now as we speak. And Matt Hughes very much in control with 1:45 left to go in round 3.
I tell you, I'm very impressed with Hughes' efforts to pass the guard here, and he's about to establish the mount position here. He needs to watch himself. Barros has got a nice guard. He's done a really nice job.
Did a nice job on the guard, but again, little to no offense from Barros.
I'd agree.
Again, there you see Hughes just, and he hasn't even strayed from the corner. It's like, all right, I'm at home, I'm going to stay here.
And that's what Pat will tell him. If you listen to Pat in the corner, Pat will tell him, bring him here, keep him on this side of the mat. Pat likes him to fight on the same side, so that you can hear the instructions from the corner, because when you've got guys like Hughes and Horn, Horn and Milicic in your corner, it's a wealth of experience. As Hughes lands a right hand to the face of Barros.
Well, we're inside of a minute left to go in the final round. So they continue to tie up along the side of the cage. Another right hand, now a left.
Barros has certainly been a game opponent here, but I tell you, Hughes has just kept the pressure on him the entire fight. He's just never let Barros get started, and he's been impressive.
20 seconds left to go, final round. And Hughes stays aggressive and starts raining down blows. Gonna go for a little early finish, at least a few seconds early, but Barros still in that guard, and we should have the horn, and Matt will do it for this fight. As the horn sounds, Matt Hughes seemingly improving on his impressive record. Safe to say, 3 rounds all to Hughes.
That's the way I have it. Again, it's not an official scorecard, but I'd call it a unanimous decision for Hughes.
Hughes just heads over there, and again,
looks like he's looking in the mirror, doesn't it?
looks as fresh as can be. Looks as fresh as his twin brother.
I'm a little embarrassed. I can't remember his name, but I believe it's Mark Hughes, I believe.
There you see Matt Hughes having some fun with the crowd. Young man from the Midwest.
Born and raised on a farm in southern Illinois. Just a humble, likable guy, I tell you.
Well, TJ has a decision. Didn't take too long to get this one, so we would not expect any surprises this time around with Matt Hughes and Alexandre Barros. And let's go right now to the ring and TJ with tonight's announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, judge number 1, 30-26. Judge number 2, 30-25. Judge number 3, 30-27. The winner by unanimous decision, Matt Hughes.
Well, Matt Hughes, the unanimous decision, as we expected. Went the full 3 rounds, and you talked about Alexandre Barros, and he was a game opponent, but Hughes too much in the end.
I tell you, Hughes just tends to overpower everybody. Here's a missed kick. Nice shot by Hughes as a follow. Straight to his trademark lift. Directs him right back towards the center of the ring, and kabam!
He knew exactly where he was going with that slam. He scattered out the ring earlier today, this morning, in fact, to find out where that hard spot was. He found it, and he planted Barros right in the middle of the ring, and Matt Hughes about ready to plant himself next to Michael Landsberg, and we'll head down to Michael.
Thanks, guys. Matt Hughes. Matt, tell us what you were doing this morning. You were sensing where the hard spots were in the ring?
Yeah, once again, the ring here has a hard spot right in the middle, and it's soft all the way around. So
why don't you tell these folks here why you care where it's hard and where it's soft in the ring?
Because that's where he goes slamming, baby, right in the middle.
So this looks like a machine out there. I'm watching you. Are you even the least bit out of breath, even the least bit fatigued?
I'm fatigued. I've been worse, but I'm all right.
Do you even breathe deep in a porno movie?
Yeah.
The man never breathes deeply. Let me ask you this. What's next for Matt Hughes?
I've got a small show in Springfield, Illinois next weekend, and then UFC June 9th.
Did Alexandre Barros have a shot at this one at all?
Not the way the judges scored it.
Not the way you did it, Matt Hughes. You're all business. We've been talking pound for pound. You may be the best in the world, and nothing that we saw this evening would suggest otherwise. Congratulations to you.
All right, thanks a lot. Michael Landsberg.